Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum. It's me, Teacher Elina for English Year 6. Okay, as I promised, every Thursday we are going to have our E-Nilam project. So today I am going to read you a story entitled Totally Bored Boris. It was written by Hans Wilhelm and first published by Random House, New York, USA. Okay, let's get started. Okay, this is a little note from Waldo. Okay, let me read you the note. Alright. Have you ever had a day when you felt really bored? When you were even too bored to play with your friends or read a book? I know what those days are like. What makes it worse is when nobody pays any attention to you or sees how bored you are. That can really make you angry, and that can make you feel like teasing or fighting. Boris, the little bear in our story, has a day like this. He can't think of anything to do. He doesn't want to play with his little sister or her friends, but his attempt to bother them turns out very differently from what he expected. Your friend, Waldo. Okay, so cerita yang akan teacher bacakan kepada kamu adalah berkenaan tentang Boris, seekor beruang yang berasa sangat bosan. Okay, so if you want to know what happens to Boris, let us read and listen to the story together. Okay, jom. Totally Bored Boris, written and illustrated by Hans Wilhelm. Boris had played with all of his toys. He had read all of his books. But now, he didn't know what to do next. He thought and thought, but he couldn't think of nothing to do. Boris was totally bored. Finally, Boris got up and went to his father. He took his trumpet and said, "Let's do something." "I am doing something," said his father. "I'm busy painting. Why don't you go fishing?" So Boris ni berasa sangat bosan dan dia pun pergi kacau ayah dia. Tapi apa yang ayah dia tengah buat? Ayah dia sedang mengecat. Sebab tu ayah dia pun beri cadangan kepada dia untuk pergi memancing. So, "Fishing is no fun to do alone," said Boris. "Please do something with me." "I can right now," said his father. "Why don't you read a book?" "I'm tired of my books," replied Boris. Jadi, bila ayah dia bagi cadangan untuk memancing, Boris pun bercakap, dia kata, memancing ni tak best kalau buat seorang. Jadi dia pun minta ayah dia untuk buat aktiviti tu bersama-sama. Tapi memandangkan ayah dia tengah mengecat, jadi ayah dia tak boleh temankan Boris ni pergi memancing. So ayah dia pun bagi cadangan untuk dia baca buku. Tapi Boris ni dah rasa bosan menghadap buku. So what happened next? Boris hoped that his mother would do something with him. "I'd love to," said his mother, "but I promised your little sister I'd bake some cookies with her. Why don't you help us?" "No, no, no," cried Boris. "I hate my sister and I hate baking cookies." And he stormed back to his room. Dia pun pergi kacau balik mak dia. Bila dia pergi kacau mak dia, tapi mak dia ada kerja yang perlu dilakukan. Okay. Boris could hear happy noises coming from the kitchen. The chattering and laughing made him feel even worse. He decided to go to his tree house. Dia pun rasa sedih bila dia dengar mak dengan adik dia berseronok sambil membakar biskut di dapur. Maybe there's something to play with there, he said. He took his trumpet with him, just in case there wasn't. Jadi dia pun bercadang untuk pergi ke rumah pokok dia. Okey, dan dia bawa sekali dengan dia trumpet. But as soon as Boris had climbed up the tree, he saw that there was nothing to do. It was as boring as being back in his room. What can I do? What can I do? He asked himself over and over again. There were lots of things he did want to do, but nothing that he really wanted to do. Okay, jadi bila dia sampai dekat rumah pokok dia pun, dia rasa sangat bosan sebab tidak ada benda yang dia boleh buat. Okay. Suddenly, a huge cardboard box came walking by. From inside came the voice of Boris' sister chanting, I'm on my way to build a castle, but no one will know where it is. It's a secret. So, tiba-tiba ada sebuah cardboard, ada sebuah kotak berjalan. Daripada dalam kotak tu dia dengar suara adik dia. Okay, adik dia nak pergi bina satu istana, tapi adik dia belum bagi tahu yang tidak ada siapa pun boleh tahu di mana ia nak bina istana tersebut kerana ia adalah rahsia. From his tree, Boris could see exactly where she was going. Building a castle, he thought. What a boring idea. If I had that box, I'd make a spaceship out of it. He kept watching as his sister and her friends began their work. Jadi, adik Boris dengan kawan-kawan dia pun membina istana mereka. Soon, Boris saw everyone pasting cutouts and buttons on the castle and painting pictures on the walls. Boris knew what he would have done instead. A spaceship would need rockets and aerials and lots of other things. But then he remembered that he was much too bored to do anything anyway. Jadi Boris ni pun dia berfikir. Dia berfikir yang kalaulah dia ada kotak tu, instead of building a castle, dia akan bina sebuah roket. Tapi memikirkan dia sangat bosan, jadi dia pun tak buat. The next thing Boris saw was his sister and her friends carrying streamers and crepe paper. I guess they are going to have a party, Boris thought. So what? I hate parties. But he kept watching them from his tree house. Jadi daripada jauh Boris nampak adik dia dengan kawan-kawannya sedang sibuk menyiapkan istana mereka dan diorang sedang bersiap untuk mengadakan parti. Mother gave us all her old jewellery and clothes to play dress up in, his little sister said very loudly as she passed under Boris' tree a few minutes later. I'll be a princess, but you won't see it, she added. Of course he would see it, Boris thought to himself, and he acted as if he weren't even interested. Jadi adik dia pun cakap dengan kawan-kawan dia yang emak dia beri baju, beri barang kemas yang lama untuk dia main. Okay. The dressing up sounded very noisy and cheerful. Boris imagined what he would dress up as if it were his party, a spaceman, or even an alien from a strange planet. Jadi Boris pun berfikir, kalaulah dia ada baju-baju itu, dia akan pakai baju sebagai seorang spaceman ataupun alien. But then Boris saw that the others were having a good time anyway. That made him feel more out of sorts than ever. When they posed so the princess could take a snapshot, Boris threw twigs down at them. but they were having too good a time to notice. Jadi bila Boris ni tengok adik dia berseronok dengan kawan-kawan, dia pun rasa tak suka. Dia pun baling beberapa ranting dekat adik dia dan kawan-kawan dia. Tapi memandangkan mereka sedang berseronok, jadi mereka tak perasan. Then his sister said to her friends, "Now, let's have a party." "Oh no, I mean a royal feast." Remembering that she was now a princess, she walked proudly by Boris' tree again, this time carrying a bowl filled with warm cookies. The sweet smell of the freshly baked cookies drifted up to Boris' tree house. The pitcher of juice made him feel thirsty, but nobody paid any attention to him. They were too busy laughing, eating, and having a good time together. "This is too much," said Boris. Jadi adik dia pun membawa cookies yang telah dibakar bersama emaknya tadi untuk dijamu kepada rakan-rakannya. Dan bau cookies yang sedap tu sampai ke hidung Boris. Jadi Boris ni pun rasa lagi marah. Boris couldn't bear it any longer. He picked up his trumpet and blew it as loud as he could. Wah! Then again and again. Wah! Wah! Then when he stopped, there was silence. There was no talking or giggling. The trumpet noise had worked. It had put an end to their silly fun and stupid party. Boris felt very pleased with himself. But suddenly, he heard his name called from below. Oleh sebab dia dah tak tahan, dia pun tiuplah trumpet dia. Jadi, bila lepas habis dia tiup trumpet dia dah tak dengar lagi suara adiknya dan kawan-kawan adik dia bersembang ataupun berseronok. Jadi, Boris rasa puas hati sebab dia dah tak dengar lagi riuh rendah kawan-kawan adik dia. Tapi tiba-tiba dia terdengar ada orang panggil namanya daripada bawah. "Boris, a trumpeter is just what a royal feast needs," called one of the guests. "How about it? Will you be the king's trumpeter?" Boris was about to say something very rude, but then he thought for a moment and said, "Maybe I could be the trumpeter, but I only do it if I get 20 cookies." "How about 3?" asked his sister, looking at the almost empty bowl. "Okay," said Boris. "That's a fair price," and he climbed down from the tree. Okay, rupa-rupanya siapa yang panggil nama Boris ni? Okay, salah seorang daripada kawan adik dia panggil Boris. Okay, he said, "A trumpeter is just what a royal feast needs." Okay, so diorang pun nak ajak Boris ni bermain bersama-sama. Boris mula-mula dia nak cakap sesuatu yang sangat kasar, tetapi dia berfikir. Dia pun cakap, "Okay, saya akan join kamu main kalau saya dapat 20 biji cookies." Tapi memandangkan cookies sudah habis, hanya ada 3 sahaja, jadi adik dia pun cakap, 3 boleh ke? Jadi Boris pun, "Okay, boleh." And then he climbed down from the trees. Dia pun turun ke bawah. The party turned out to be fantastic. The trumpeter trumpet, the king drum, the royal court dance, and Boris forgot all about his boredom and nothing to do's. Jadi bila Boris ni join adik dia untuk bermain, dia pun lupa segala benda yang dia rasa bosan. But he did not forget about the cookies which the princess had saved, especially for him. Tapi walaupun dia dah lupakan semua kebosanan dia tidak lupa tentang cookies yang adik dia dah simpan untuk dia. So, What is the moral value that you got from the story? Okay. Okay, bila kita rasa bosan, bila ada kawan ajak bermain, kita joinlah mereka. Jangan rasa cemburu, jangan rasa marah tanpa sebab. Okay, that's all for today's session. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum.